We had, I think, 20, do you remember 28,000? I think we had about 28,000 in donations that came over the course of time towards that. The grant that we received was for $9,000, but you have to pay up front and then they'll give you the $9,000 afterwards. So we are always still looking to offset the cost of this large expense. And if you're ever led to put in an envelope for the Good Shepherd window, it'd be appreciated. Okay, Richard. He is our historian and archivist. Done a lot of work.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, hi, Vince. And if I take some water, it's because I take old man medications and my mouth gets real dry. Yes, it's finally done, and it's been an exhausting process, 5 months. And look, I've seen this window taken apart bit by bit, and I've watched it reassembled, and it still is amazing to see what it looks like when it's all put together. The church was built very quickly. It was the cornerstone was laid on June 30th, 1907, and the dedication ceremony was December 8th, today, 1907. So today is the 117th anniversary of this building's dedication.
Yay!
Yay, yay. So we are seeing the window almost as it originally was. Because the church was built so quickly, all of the single windows were mismeasured, as was the Good Shepherd. So when they delivered it, they had it sitting on the front lawn, and they had to figure out how to get it in. These windows were measured too big, so they had to expand them, which you can see at the top. All those little red things, they were not meant to be. This window, the Good Shepherd, was measured too small. So they took out the frame in the middle section. And what happened was they actually put those red, the red glass into the wall. So taking it out cracked the glass. It was a very difficult. And because they did that, the alignment was off. So they flipped the bottom 3 pieces, and it's been upside down for 117 years. And because those are columns, I mean, nobody noticed it until 2 or 3 years ago, but it's been fixed. So the window, when it was built, was donated by Cordelia Long Horning. She owned this land. She was born across the street over on the hill where Kunkel's tavern, Hillside Tavern used to be. And she got her money from her father, not the Horning family. The Horning family got the money from her. When her dad died, she bought all this land all the way back to Brownsville Road. She paid $13,000 for it in 1875, and she donated this piece here. So when the window was, they were going to build this church, she was raising funds, but she paid for the window. In 1907, the window cost, there's no receipts, but we can make an approximate guess looking at old time catalogs, about $4,000. So in adjusted for inflation today, that's about $160,000 that she paid for that window. The window is irreplaceable. Much of the glass along the edge is no longer made. If you go up, you'll see that the glass is the same color, but it's not the same texture of glass, because we actually went to Kokomo where the glass was made, and they don't make all that glass anymore, especially the red and the amber. I got to see the amber glass that's in there, made from scratch, watching them carry the molten glass out in these big old buckets like they did 115 years ago. And they juggle it and they throw it onto this machine that flattens it all out, and it comes out like that. So it was really interesting getting to see it made. And I actually have a video of it that I would like to post online at some point. So if we could replace the window today in its perfect state, it would be upwards of $300,000. But like I said, it cannot be replaced exactly the way it was intended to be. But considering the 9 generations of people who have gone to this church since 1907, we are the first ones to see the window as it was intended to truly be by the artisans. And that certainly is for me a privilege. It's based on an old painting from 1877. But if you notice, not in the painting, the lambs, the sheep, have been anthropomorphized to look like people. So it really is what I think is, that was the glass artisan who did that. And it really draws you into the window. And if you notice the trees in the background, there's the desolate tree for death and the blooming tree for life. All of these details are so vivid now. The colors are vivid, we can see the eyes. And looking at the pieces one by one, just, well, you probably can imagine, but you really can't imagine 117 years of soot and coal dust that was in that window. We took it out. I mean, we would, the images of Christ are 2 panes of glass, and we took them apart, just dust just fell. So, and those colors, the flesh tones, needed a lot of work because they are fired at a very low temperature, and the paint isn't as sustainable as the darker temperatures. So I think that it's, the last thing I wanted to say was, when the window was coming out, Pete Boucher, who owns the company that restored the window, looked at me and said, there was a previous dedication on this window. And I said, okay, I know nothing about that. So we only have one photograph of the window before 1940, and it's black and white, and I pulled it out, and I looked at it, and sure enough, it was donated. It says exactly what it says there. Sometime between 1940, when that photograph was taken, and my cousin's wedding in 1969, the dedication was removed. And I don't know why. I would love to find out, but I'm sure that's lost to history. And then in the 70s, the window, I would imagine, during one of the restorations when Reverend Tulloch had the benches replaced and the windows, they dedicated it to Mrs. Horning's son, which is appropriate, but whenever we realized what the original dedication was, the trustees and I felt that it'd be more appropriate to go back to the way it was originally. I think it's a wonderful legacy to Mrs. Horning, who was actually 10 years ago, her great-great-great-grandson was here, and I wasn't able to get a hold of him, but lives in Georgia. But it's a wonderful, honor for her to still see her legacy here. And it's a beautiful window. It's a beautiful piece of art. And I hope you all enjoy it. I can spend hours looking at it. And it's truly not just a window. It was a lot of individual craft and attention went into it that you don't see in a lot of windows, in even cathedrals. I've seen a bunch of Notre Dame. I think that they had a lot more leeway because it was a small church that they could, make it more individualized. And I hope you all appreciate it. Thank you.